Jack.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having us on site today.
Absolutely excited for it.
I have never done spray foam insulation.
Most people haven't, right?
It's a trade that's, you know, really unique to having the knowledge to do it right.
There's a lot of concerns that homeowners have, and we're here to, make sure that we address all of them and have the best product going in.
So if I'm correct, this is the brains of the operation, right?
This is the brains.
Let me see.
This is
what
where
we
the
got going
magic
on here.
happens.
Come on, everybody. Let's see what's inside. So Jack, can you tell me a little bit about the machine and how it works?
Yeah, so spray foam might look complicated. It definitely has its nuances, but when you break it down, it's pretty simple. We use a suction system and a pump in order to move it over to this machine where all the magic happens. And the way you can think about this is a commercial grade paint sprayer, except that instead of having one of them, we have two. When the materials come in, we have an ambient temperature gauge and we have a pressure gauge to make sure we have good inlet flow. Then it runs through a bigger version of these, which is a filter, make sure everything's clean. Then it goes into the paint sprayer section of it, where it pressurizes it to about 1100 to 1400 PSI, depending on what manufacturer we're using. So then it comes into the manifold where we can put it back in our barrels or we can put it into the gun. When it goes into the hoses, it comes all the way out to the gun where we filter it again. We got to make sure there's no debris in this in order to make sure we're spraying right.
All right, Jack, so this is the prep work before the spray work. What do we got going on?
The fastest way to transfer heat is by using air. So if we can stop the air and force the heat to go through the insulation, we can have a much tighter, much more efficient home, and that way you can lower your energy bills. We're going to use what's called can foam. Simplest way, you can buy this anywhere, pretty much, Home Depot, whatnot, but we do it on every one of our jobs.
And this is replacing the old school way of putting insulation, just shoving it into the crack, right?
Absolutely. The foam can get in there so much better. It can do a better job of sealing, and it's a complete air barrier, where fiberglass, it captures the heat through its thickness. When you compress it in these little compartments, it loses all of its value.
Okay, let's see how you do it.
Pretty simple. Stick it in, and we just fill it up. I would just grab something that you can actually stick it in and just run it down.
Like here?
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's it, right?
Yep. Now we'll just come back and trim it off when it hardens up and be good to go.
Shooting it all the way in there.
That's the whole point. You want as much insulation as you can get.
Something I noticed about your crew is the attention to detail. So you're also sealing up even the little cracks around all the outlets and everything, right?
Yep. So just like when you're painting, we don't want to get spray foam on anything that we don't want to get spray foam on. It's a lot harder to get off than paint. So when we see light, we typically know that there's usually something that light's coming from, and usually it's something we don't like. So we'll seal up all cracks and gaps to make sure that when we go and spray foam over them, nothing's going to where we don't want it, and it's all staying where we want it.
So Eric, right now you've got prep work going on. What exactly is involved in prepping?
Well, in prepping is we're plastering off all the windows and doors. The guys have already gone through and foam insulated around all the windows and doors. And so then we'll plastic off so that when we spray foam, the spray foam won't stick to the windows.
Okay.
And so we want to make sure that everything is sealed off and ready to go. And then we prep the floors as well, because otherwise you've got to scrape the floors and sweep the floors when we spray foam it. So
something I really want to point out too is look at the prep work they're doing. They're covering all of the boxes. They're sealing up all the windows, and like you said right here, this is all fresh spray foam, and they just did this like 15-20 minutes ago.
And this stops airflow forever. Right. So you never feel air coming around light switches or doors or anything along those lines.
All right, Jack, so we had the opportunity to see the way you're insulating the walls upstairs. What other parts of the house are we going to want to consider when it comes to spray foam?
Yeah, so most of houses all have the same leaky spot, and that's what you call the rim joist here, right? Almost 20% reduction can come just from some rim joist on houses. When you have the concrete or your foundation and you try to set wood on top of it, you can never really get a good seal, especially not in the old days where they didn't use different sealants or caulks. So what we can do is come over this and coat the entire thing in order to get that air seal that we're looking for. So if you want a warm, moisture tight, good humidity level basement, you need to insulate these things right, so that way we don't have any problems.
So when you spray foam this, you're going right into the cavity and you're filling that whole thing with foam.
Yep. We're gonna seal the whole thing up.
All right, so if there's a little gap, you're gonna put it in there and try and fill the gap for the sill plate of the concrete, right? Okay. Are there any other areas in the basement? They talked about the crawl space earlier. What are we doing over there? Let's walk and talk about that.
Yeah, so crawl spaces are another very underutilized space in terms of energy efficiency and heat loss.
All right.
The crawl space walls can be done. We're gonna lay some 6 mil plastic to have a true vapor barrier all the way around this. We're gonna have a crawl space encapsulation. So the crawl space is going to be the exact same temperature as your living room. You're not gonna have cold floors. You're not gonna have to worry about moisture penetrations or anything like that. Your whole house will be one atmosphere.
This room's looking pretty done, looking good. So how do you do like a final inspection on it, make sure everything's good to go?
Yeah, so on our contract, we stated depth for everything that we're gonna do. So we use one of these, it's called a depth checker. We stick it in the foam, just like so, and I can tell you that I am between my 5 to 5.5 inches, as we're right at 5.5 inches on that cavity. In the ceiling, it's the same thing. We have a depth that we're supposed to go to, and when our contract for this says 6 to 7, we're over the 7 mark. I mean, the whole thing's covered. So we've fulfilled our desires, our needs for this customer here. Now we got to make sure that we've sealed up every crack and gap. We caulk it and we seal around all the windows to make sure we're 100%. Once that's done, we're ready for an inspection and we're ready to get drywalling.
Awesome, looks great.